All right, Shalom. I'll start first by giving all praises and glories unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the house of David, the elect, 144,000 and one third people that believe in this thing. Shalom. All right, the brother Shaquat out here in the Boston City, um, called Las Vegas. Basically, I was asked a question the other day about the Shroud of Turin, right? And I want to kind of go into that in the lesson because I think it's a pretty good something just to kind of debunk because whether people know it or not, this is some straight up bull. It was on Unsolved Mysteries when I was a kid, and I remembered it. And you don't fully know everything, but as I grew up, it was something that I kind of looked into. Uh, when the question was asked. All right, so of course, the material was linen. It was 4.4 by 1.1 meters. That's 14, basically 14 and a half feet. 14 feet 5 inches by 3 feet 7 inches in length. It says it's a Cathedral of Saint John the Baptist in Turin, Italy. Okay. Yeah, and that's what it's supposed to look like right there. Now, there's a problem with that, man. There's a few problems with it. I'm gonna read what they got on it, then I'm gonna hit the scriptures and I'm gonna close out. Okay, it says the Shroud of Turin, or Turin Shroud, Italian, blah 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 blah, Italian Sidon di Torino, or Sacra Sindon. Yeah, it says, or Santa Sindon. It says, um, a length of linen cloth bearing the image of a man is believed by some to be the burial shroud of Jesus of Nazareth, which we know him as Yahweh Shai, right? It says, although three radiocarbon dating tests in 1988 dated a sample of the cloth to the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages. Want to let me Google that. The Middle Ages. Let me see if I can look it up right quick. They're not gonna let me use that. That's for sure. Um, Go a little deeper in here. With my Google right quick. Okay, we go to the Middle Ages. Middle Ages time period. Um, 5th century to the 15th century. Western. There it is right there. In the history of Europe, the Middle Ages or medieval period lasted from the 5th to the 15th century. It began to fall of the Western Roman Empire and merged into the Renaissance and the Age of Discovery. So around the time of the Dark Ages. But look, they got all Edomites in there. That's crazy. Anyway, so going back to the shroud, it says the shroud is kept at the Royal Chapel of the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, northern Italy. The Catholic Church has neither formally endorsed nor rejected the shroud, but in 1958, Pope Pius XII approved of the image in the association with the devotion of the holy face of Jesus. Right? I'm using that on purpose, saying Jesus. It says Pope John Paul II called the shroud a mirror of the gospel. Right? So basically, the Pope John, I believe Pope John Paul II, he didn't die till like the 90s or the 80s, something like that. Might have been the early 90s or something. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. I mean, I guess I can click on it just for edification's sake. But this is of recent time. In 93. Exactly. Let's go back. Okay, basically, you can go in here and read it for yourself. Carbon dating. We don't want to go into all of those things, but there's an easy way to break this thing down, right? So we're gonna go from here and we're gonna go into images of the Shroud of Turin, right? Now these are the images of the Shroud of Turin. Um, they have the face, and then they've digitally enhanced it and everything. And this was the latest, I believe, digital enhancement, the one they had at the beginning of the other one, right? You see right there, hair long and hanging. They say you got the crown and all of that, the little, the little pointy nose, got all those things, which looks mysteriously similar. This is what they're saying he looked like right here. Let me see if I can get this better. Can't turn it. Let me see. I don't know if brothers can see that. This is what it's all supposed to look like or something. I don't know what they're trying to say with that, but what they got him as a so-called white man on there, right? Basically saying this is what he looked like, right? Well, that's not supported. Here's a good one. That's not supported by the scriptures. This image right here is not supported by the Bible itself. See that image on the far left is what that enhanced photo is supposed to look like, and then they said if he looked like that, it goes all the way to the right. What he looked like? Well, the scripture don't back that up, man. Scripture don't back that up. Scripture does not back that up. Now I want to go into a couple scripts to go into what that shroud was about. Come on now. So we're gonna go to Matthew 27, and I believe the verse was 57. Yeah, 57. It says, "And when evening was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea, named Joseph, who also himself was Yahweh's disciple." He was a disciple also, right? It says, when he went to Pilate and begged the body of Yahushua, right? It says, then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. So Pilate gave him the body of Yahushua. He says, and when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth. Supports the shroud, right? Now, let me keep reading. It says, and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock, and he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. Now, so that shows you the cloth and everything about the Turin. So there was a clean linen that Yahushua was wrapped in once he had passed away, right? Now let me go to Book of Matthew 26. And we'll start around verse 6. It says, now when Yahushua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, it said, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. Now, this ointment and alabaster, and there's all types of different ointments and stuff like that in there that make up this oil, because he's about to get anointed in a very expensive oil, a very sweet, not just sweet, but like a good smelling oil that he was about to be anointed with. And I believe Mary's about to, it was Mary, right? Yeah, Mary was about to anoint him with it because he was about to be offered up and killed, right? And so the point of me bringing this to the light is the fact that this ointment would stain that shroud, that linen shroud. Some of it would absorb into him, Let me keep reading. It says, but when the disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, what purpose is this to waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. So The point was he was. Let me jump down because the point. Yeah. I'll just keep reading. Verse 10, it says, And when Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. I'm about to be offered up and taken away. I'm not always going to be with you. It says, For in that she has poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman have done to be told for a memorial of her. Right, so she will be told as a memorial for her. Right? So now let's go from that, and we're going to go back to that shroud, the image of that shroud, right? Yeah, right here. The image of that shroud, man. So the question is this. If it would look like an image of a man on that shroud, why would it look like Cesare Borgia if it was back in the time of Yahushua? Right? Why would it look like him if that's not what the Bible describes who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ to look like? So let's go into the scripture of what he looked like. We're gonna go right to Revelation. I'm gonna show a couple something else, then I'm gonna close out. Matter of fact, I'm not. I'm gonna show this image first. I'm gonna read the scripture. Salaki, brothers, read the scripture because it's just hits the point so beautifully, right? Now, we'll start Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. It said the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach, who you internally call Jesus Christ, which the Most High gave unto him to show his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he signified it, and he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Now he told these things from the angel that unto his servant John, who bear record of the word of the Most High and the testimony of Yahushua Mashiach and all the things that he saw. So he's giving the description of what he saw, right? And we're going to go straight to the 13th verse. It says, And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed. So he saw this man coming upon him. He said, he saw a man coming upon him. He said, clothed with the garment down to the foot. So he's beginning to describe what he saw. A man clothed down to the foot and girded about the paps with a golden girdle. He had a golden wrestling belt or those world championship belts on. He says, his head and his hairs were white like wool. He could see a little ways off as he's getting closer. His head and his hairs on his hair were white and woolly, as white as snow, pure white, right? So he talked about the texture and the color, and it reiterated the color. It says, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And the whites of his eyes were red, with vengeance and with anger, and because he was a wine bibber. That's the red eyes on it, right? It says, and not the iris. The iris is dark brown or whatever, whatever they didn't actually give account of that, but whatever color his eye would be, it didn't describe it as blue-eyed or green-eyed. It just talks about the red of his eyes, meaning the whites of his eyes were red. Right? It says his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And his feet like unto fine brass. Because once he saw his face, he immediately fell before the Lord, and then he can only see his feet. And whatever color your feet are, that's the color of your whole body. And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So golden, bronzy, brass color, and then burned in a furnace makes it even darker. Really dark with a golden undertone, as if they burned in the furnace, and his voice at the sound of many waters. Now, that being true, this image would not look like this. Now, let's not forget, matter of fact, I have another script, because that ointment showed through his body what he would look like, right? But let's not forget, this man was beaten to death. Yahushua was beaten to death, right? So let's go back into this. We're gonna go into the book of matter of fact, we're going to the book of Isaiah. And we're gonna go to the 52nd chapter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. It said, "Behold, my servant shall deal prudently." Is the prophecy of what went on with Isaiah. It says, "Behold, my servant shall deal prudently; he shall be exalted and extolled, and be very high." That's how Shai is talking about. As many were astonied at his visage, his body was so marred, beaten up, and destroyed, more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. Yeah, so they marred his body. They completely beat him up, man. Destroyed his body. Now, when you go back into that Shroud of Turin, we're gonna go to let's go to this one. Where's see if they pull it up. Where's if that was him, man? Where's all the wounds of all the whippings and beatings and blood, and where's all that at? Where's all that at? Is that supposed to be them right there? This man was destroyed, man. They destroyed this man's body, man. Completely killed this guy, man. Beat him to death. Tortured him to death. And he's supposed to look like this? Bullshit, man. Look, they say that when you break down that image, this is what he would have looked like. Bullshit, man. Come on now. That's not what they destroyed. Who you entered to call Yahweh Shai was a so-called black man. He didn't have long, hanging, stringy hair like that, man. He had a little natural afro, curly, woolly afro, man. That's what he had. So these images are full of shit. Full of shit ass images, man. Now, I Googled two other things. I Googled Jesus Christ images. Look what I get. You Google Jesus Christ, the guy they're talking about. Google Jesus Christ, and this is what you get. You get Esau, man. You get, so-called white man. You get the world-known image of what he is. This is what you get. Look at this. Look. But you Google Yahweh Shai, and this is what you get. Look. You put his name in the proper Hebrew, because when you go into these other languages, man, like it says in the book of the son of Sirach and the Apocrypha, it tells you, man, the prologue right there tells you, man, when you go into these original languages, man, it has more power. And in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, their names are powerful like that as well, man. Look, when you put in his Hebrew name, look what comes up. Look what image over there in this one's in Rome. I thought it was in Kenya. But yeah, in Rome. In Rome. Look what they show. Look at this guy. Right? Now, does that bell pepper nose right there really look like that little thin-ass nose from the Shroud of Turin? For real? They even made this in bronze. So this shows you the BS, man. Look, all dark-skin images. You look up Yahweh Shai. All dark-skin images. Look at this. Bring this one up again. So this was in Kenya. Is this the same one? Wherever it was at, this more closely depicts what the man would have looked like. So I'm gonna go one more script. I didn't plan on this script, but I'm gonna bring it out anyway because this thing is important that we see this thing for what it is, man. You guys got to pull that wool off your eyes, man, and start seeing things for what they really are. There's a deep veil of a deception that the devil has poured on you. These so-called these so-called white men, but the Edomites, man, that the wicked, that the elites have pulled over your eyes, man. They pushed this on you for so long, man. It's time to wake up out of that, man. Time to wake up out of that. We'll go right here. Around right there. No, Salaki. It wasn't Matthew. It was Salaki, the book of John 4. So around 22. Yeah. Um. Yep. Saint John, or John chapter 4, verse 22. It says, "Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers," not just somebody that wants to say, "Oh, I worship him because the Pope endorsed it," or whatever, you know, or because I'm a Christian, because Jesus came for everybody. No, man, no, no. The true worshipers, those that will prove unto Yahweh Bashim Yahshua that they truly, are worshiping, and that they're the true worshipers, right? The men that stand out there on the corners of the highways and hedges, making their bodies a living sacrifice, as the scripture have said, that humbled before Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, man. Those are the true worshipers. It said when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. The Most High is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Yeah, so it's time to wake up, man, with all them we've knocked down all these strongholds, man. Every high thing that man tried to put before us, man. We're knocking these things down. To leave you no excuse unto what the truth is, man. If I could pull that one real quick. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. See what we got here. If we got one more, if not, I'm gonna close out. Should be right here. You know how you look it up in your sword, man? It's right there. Yeah. Oh, it switched. We're gonna go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Start at verse 3. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 5. Matter of fact, I'll read start at 3. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds." And that image of that Turin and Cesare Borgia, who you ignorantly called that white image of Jesus, the other white meat, sweet Jesus, some of the code names we call him, those are strongholds, man. Those are all strongholds. This thing don't want to work right now, so I'm gonna go back. None but Satan. Anyway, it says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High God. So that shroud was something that a lot of people believed in, man. They see the image, so they think because it was a real shroud, there was a count of the shroud and everything, that the shroud should look like that. But no, man, that was hundreds of years after. The carbon dating, which they've proven carbon dating couldn't be accurately assessed, It says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High God. The knowledge of the Most High God was his Bible when it said he had woolly hair and dark skin. Oh, by the way, that he was marred and beaten. Where's the blood? There should be heavy blood stains on that thing right there. They said there was one where he gashed on his left side, but where's the rest of it, man? They didn't even name all the things. You couldn't put all the things that they did to him, man, in there, right? How bad they beat him. Mel Gibson couldn't even portray everything that they really did to him. But when you watch that, and they showed the little white image of Jesus in that, but with Yahweh Shai, man, what really happened to him was way worse, man. Way worse. Anyway, it said, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. So with that, man, I'm going to close out. So it's time for y'all to wake up, man, and stop being simple out there. Go study to show yourself approved. Go into these things, look it up, and break down their strongholds, man, because a lot of this stuff has been put over you for the captivity of your mind, body, and spirit, man. And now is the time where Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, who you ignorantly call the Most High God, and his son Yahushai are starting to open up that veil, man, break those seals so we can open up and see these things in truth and sincerity, man. For it is in the mystery of iniquity, the wicked, the so-called white man, the Edomites, are now being revealed. And all the other nations, and even the 2/3 are being revealed for 2/3 that they're not acting as they should, even though they're of the flesh of our people. So with that, I'm going to close out. Say, call Allah Yahweh Hashem Shai. Double honor to the apostles, elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the house of David the elect and those that believe. That, say Shalom.